Welcome back. How we doing, guys? What's going on? Oh, I'm excited today. Oh, that's really loud in my ear. Woof. Welcome back to the Funker News Network. I'm Ronnie. I'll be your host, and I got quite a bit to talk about before we get started tonight. I got a couple personal items I want to say thank you about. One specifically to an individual, another one to everybody. We got a bunch of talking points I need to get through today, but before I do, please hit the like button as is typical. It's chilling. I know. I hate that I have to ask you to, but they kind of hide it behind the chat and whatnot. So slap it right in the hind parts. Give it a good uppercut. It is an uppercut so that you lift a little bit. But first, before we get started, I got to say thank you to one of you out there. One of you guys out there bought me a beer in my hometown while my family and I were out at a local get together, and it was super classy, well done. That's one of the first times that's ever happened to me, and I just wanted to individually, I didn't catch your name, the music was really loud and it was a great band, but I wanted to say thank you because that was awesome and I appreciate that. Now, a quick announcement from me personally, and I talked about this over on my channel on Friday. So I made an announcement that most of you guys are aware that I'm not full-time in content. In either my Funker 530 work or my work elsewhere on the other channel. Because of you guys, I have been able to put a resignation in with my 9 to 5 and will be full-time in content creation both here and over on the other channel. And again, that's because of you. Because of you guys chiming in here every Tuesday and Thursday. And here's what that means. That means that the content here is going to get much more. We're going to see much more content here. We're also going to see the content types increase, so both edited and the live show. We're going to see a lot more planning, a lot more time to prepare for the live show. I want to say thank you again, because this is what I want to do, and you guys are enablers for that. So thank you again. I'm going to kill the music here. It's too damn loud in my ear. Okay, there we go. That's so much better. I can hear myself think. It might not have been loud to you guys. I'm still working out some of the kinks and bugs with the new setup, and I'm used to running an XLR mixer on a 2-PC setup. So running it on a single PC setup, the audio routes a little bit differently. Congratulations. Oh, no, thank you. I've had a blast just trying to cover all of these complex topics with you guys and boil them down as best as we, the Funker 530 team, can. Again, to the individual out there in the community that bought me a beer, dude, that was awesome. That doesn't happen. And thank you for that. And to all of you, thank you for being here and continuing to be here, continuing to watch, provide your feedback, your commentary, your suggestions. I do read the comments, right? A lot of people will tell you, don't read the comments. You're going to get attacked by trolls. It's fine, right? That's what happens on the internet. We read the comments. We take your feedback. And I appreciate it. Now let's jump into the show because we got quite a bit of a show, and my live night is going to continue over onto the other channel. which also has its own scheduled stream over there. I thought I was going to be a little bit late today. We are late. We're about a half an hour late, but it's not as late as I expected to be. There's a poll out there. There's a poll out there, and it asks specifically, is Finland and Sweden's entrance to NATO too much? And there's a reason that I asked that. A, it's a leading question. It leads you to believe that there's a possibility that it is, right? So it's an example of a leading question. But I asked that for a very specific reason, because we're going to watch a video of Vladimir Putin and what he thinks right out of the gate here. This is the first thing we're going to do. Watch a video of Vladimir Putin and what he thinks about Finland and Sweden's addition into NATO. I'm going to give that to you guys right now.
Для нас членство Финляндии и Швеции в НАТО — это совсем не то, что членство Украины в НАТО. Это совершенно разные вещи. Значит, из Украины начали делать антироссию, плацдарм для того, чтобы попытаться как-то раскачивать саму Россию. Начали бороться с русской культурой, с русским языком, начали преследовать людей, которые чувствуют себя частью русского мира. Ничего подобного в Финляндии, в Швеции нет. Это совершенно другая ситуация. Ну, хотят, пусть вступают, пожалуйста.
Let's watch it again, just in case you missed the very beginning of it there. Hello, thank you.
Для нас членство Финляндии и Швеции в НАТО — это совсем не то, что членство Украины в НАТО. Это совершенно разные вещи. Значит, из Украины начали делать антироссию, плацдарм для того, чтобы попытаться как-то раскачивать саму Россию. Начали бороться с русской культурой, с русским языком, начали преследовать людей, которые чувствуют себя частью русского мира. Ничего подобного в Финляндии, в Швеции нет. Это совершенно другая ситуация. Ну, хотят, пусть вступают, пожалуйста.
Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. One of the leading narratives that we continue to see perpetuated across just everywhere is that somehow Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a result of Biden or of NATO. I personally am not a fan of Joe Biden myself, but I doubt he had a whole lot to do with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It probably predates President Joe Biden. But this statement from Vladimir Putin makes me think really one thing, and that is ultimately that NATO expansion really wasn't a catalyst for the invasion of Ukraine in the first place. The major catalyst existed long before present day. The catalyst ultimately was the collapse of the Soviet Union and Russia not recognizing Ukraine's independent status. This was just a very interesting, speech by Vladimir Putin. I wanted to show that to you guys because even if he has his best poker face on right now, it doesn't appear as though he is overly concerned. Now, with Finland specifically, that's 830 miles that have been added to NATO's border right on the northwest of Ukraine. Of course, he is going to be a little bit perturbed by that, but as some sort of, I've used this term a couple times, catalyst for the next escalation, I highly doubt that's going to happen. Let's jump into some of our other talking points that I had here, though. I want to start off with the top global discussion, that is NATO. We're talking a little bit about NATO right now, and speaking specifically of Finland and Sweden. The NATO applications are now officially moving forward. They have been signed. And what's interesting about the Finland and Sweden NATO applications is they are moving forward after only 7 weeks, and that's the fastest that's ever happened. The last time there was an admission into NATO, it was something like 12 months for it to take for the finalization, or for it to at least get to this stage. Something we talked about last Thursday was a certain perspective on the addition of countries to NATO. Consider each country ultimately a trigger, right? We have 30 countries presently in NATO. With the addition of Finland and Sweden, that takes that to 32. If you look at each country as though it's a trigger, right? Attack one of us, attack all of us. What we're effectively doing is adding 2 additional triggers, and risk associated with the addition of those, along with an 830-mile border, needs to be managed and mitigated. I am a fan of any country being able to do whatever the they want, personally. But that's just a perspective and a way of thinking about the addition of these countries into NATO. I think, you can each come to your own conclusions as to whether or not the addition of Finland and Sweden is a good thing, a bad thing, an indifferent thing. But that's why I wanted to lead off with Vladimir Putin's statements that he had there. Now let's talk specifically about the situation in Ukraine. Oh, before we leave NATO, NATO has had a change of command from a military perspective. The new commander, U.S. Army General Chris Cavoli, the former EUCOM commander, now has probably one of the coolest titles ever, the Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. I get a whole lot of Starship Troopers vibes from that, but it's a really cool title, and I just wanted to do the Starship Troopers reference. Moving on to the Ukraine discussion, we're going to pull up the campaign map here because the situation in the east has kind of continued to degrade for Ukraine. For some reason, my taskbar doesn't really want to hide itself. Automatically hide the taskbar, please. Thank you. I like the taskbar to go away and get out of my face when we're talking. Coming up for you guys here. So let's talk about Lysychansk. Put myself in the lower right hand of the screen here. Let's talk about Lysychansk. The last time we were here was Thursday, and we were talking about the Seversky Donets, which is roughly here, and how Ukraine had set up, to some degree, a defensive line across from Severodonetsk. And if you're looking for a world map perspective or world map view, here you go, right here. Romania to the southwest of Ukraine, Belarus to the northwest, Poland immediately to the west, Russia to the east. So we're in the east. We're in Donbass right now. Lysychansk, Ukraine has officially fully withdrawn from Lysychansk and established a somewhat of a defensive line, at least to my understanding, between Bakhmut and Sloviansk. Now, in Sloviansk, specifically, the local governor or mayor there, has announced that they are evacuating civilians from Sloviansk. And if you guys want this map, I'm going to give you a link to that right now. There's the map we are looking at. So there is essentially a defensive line along E40 that's being set up here. You're of course going to have some form of skirmish and a forward line up here that's working to delay as long as possible. But this forward line of troops just last Thursday was up here on the Seversky Donets. That's quite a bit of ground to have been covered. But you have to take that with a grain of salt because, essentially Ukraine has retreated, withdrawn, whatever you want to call it, back towards a defensive line between Bakhmut and Sloviansk. I don't know if it's exactly on E40 here, this route, but that's essentially what the reports were telling me. Checking in on chat here. I had a couple notes about, some, let's actually talk about that. So Russia is gaining a lot of ground in the east. They have gained a little bit of ground in the north, but not without losing ground elsewhere, like in the south near Kherson. One of the things that they continue to struggle with, though, is logistics, right? And they continue to have logistics problems. And the reason we know that is what the State Duma, which is essentially the lower house, the equivalent to the lower house would be the House of Representatives. The State Duma is voting now on a bill that would effectively require or mandate companies to comply with Russian government orders. So private companies to comply with Russian orders to provide arms and ammunition. It would also require workers to work overtime. Specifically, the Deputy Prime Minister said, Deputy Prime Minister of Russia said, in order to guarantee the supply of weapons and ammunition, it is necessary to optimize the work of the military-industrial complex and enterprises that are part of that cooperation chains. Right. One of the things that typically comes along with Russia is a blurred line between government and business. That's typically a hallmark of corruption. Just something notable there. The last thing I wanted to talk about before we moved into the combat footage is the $820 million aid package that was announced for Ukraine. I thought I had grabbed the link for the official defense announcement. Let me see if I can find that really quick. I'm going to give you guys an ad. Enjoy this one.
Only you can prevent
communism.
All right, welcome back. We found it. So I wanted to link you guys directly to the Pentagon's release from the 1st of July. So I'm a couple days behind on this one for the $820 million. That way we could take a look at what exactly, according to the Pentagon, is going to be included in that. It's coming up for you guys now. There we go. All right, that should be good. So $820 million essentially boils down to additional ammunition for the HIMARS, some critical capabilities to defend against Russian aggression, which is 2 NASAMS, right? So National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems. Now, these are capable for defense against UAS, UAVs, basically. The UAS, so you understand the difference between an unmanned aerial system and an unmanned aerial vehicle, a UAS is the entirety of the system. So if you imagine the UAV being the vehicle itself, unmanned aerial vehicle, a UAS is the operator, the controller, the vehicle, the munition. That's the entirety of the system. It's an umbrella term. So there's a difference between saying UAS and UAV. Let's bring this back up here. But the NASAM can defend against UAVs, choppers, cruise missiles, and fixed wings. So it's a high capability system. There are 2 of those that are going to Ukraine. There's up to 150 rounds of 155 ammunition, and that's going to be usable in both the Caesars and the 777s. It's unknown which types of rounds are going. At last glance, I do want to say that some of the guided longer range 155 munitions were already in theater and going to theater. We did a breakdown on Ukraine artillery and how they were using artillery and the potential impact of the 777s. And it also includes 4 additional counter-artillery radars. Now let's talk about some numbers and what that brings us up to. A lot of people falsely believe that we've already just written a $40 billion check to Ukraine. That's not really how that worked. It just allocated the potential for funds from different areas of the U.S. government for that. So for current numbers, and let's walk this from 2014 forward. And it's right here. You can read it. You can read it along with me. $8.8 billion since 2014. $7.6 billion since the Biden administration took office, and 6.9 of that being since Russia's invasion, February 24th of 2022. Checking in on the chat. Also want to hit some of the support that's already coming across. Thank you guys. I need to fix the camera. At some point the camera has pointed down. I did change one thing. So we were filming in 24 frames because that's technically the frames that they do TV on, but 30 frames just looks better. So I changed the camera to be 30 frames, but that actually changed the field of view for the camera, so it jacked up how everything looks. Anyway, just a little bit of behind the curtain there. Eagle Spurch, thank you for the $5. How can Russia fully mobilize if Russia can't supply the troops they have in the field already? That's one of the big questions. Logistics problems have existed for Russia since February 24th. since they drove across the border, it has been a notable lack of capability to supply troops. Russia's logistics chain process is antiquated to and that's the best way to explain it. I'm not a loggy. My first deployment was with loggies, and I need to reach out to some of them to just chat logistics. Xavier, thank you for the $4.99. Russia invaded 2014. It's 101 degrees in Texas. Definitely. See, what's the go-to snack to cool off in your region? Bourbon. Covert arrangements. Thank you for the $1.99. The way we failed the Afghan. Oh, we're going to cover that tonight. And don't think anybody in the military chain of command that we have forgotten about Afghanistan, because we're going to talk about it again. We're going to talk about it again tonight. Hi, Ronnie. Miss you, brother. John from Texas. John, thanks for the $2. Eagle Spurch, thanks again for the $5. Ronnie, can you explain the basics of how Russian and Ukrainian supply works? This is how it was explained to me. And this dates all the way back to my first deployment back in 2013 when I deployed augmenting a logistics unit. What that unit was there to do, and this is the best that I can give you. I'm not a logistics guy. What that unit was there to do was transition logistics from the U.S. controlling Afghan logistics back to the Afghans. Now, the way it was explained to me, and one of the reasons that we took over logistics wasn't just to make it better. It was to switch systems from the old Russian form, which is more of a push system, wherein a higher echelon or higher command would effectively say, "Hey, here is 10 crates of ammo. Have fun with it. According to our system, you need 10 crates of ammo." It doesn't necessarily matter, and this is the Russian system, it doesn't necessarily matter if the unit that they're sending that to already has 10 crates of ammo, and they've got an overabundance, and they actually need beans. According to the higher echelon system, you need bullets, not beans. Now, in America's system, it would be what you would call a pull system. Again, this is how it was explained to me. Please don't hold this over my head. It's what you call a pull system. And that means that the lower echelon has the requirement of saying, hey, this is what I need. And they will relay that up to the upper echelon. The upper echelon will say, yes, we can give you this, that, and the other, but not this thing. So it's a difference between a push and a pull system. Now, how exactly that works in the employment of logistics chains, that's starting to get way down the rabbit hole in a knowledge base that I just don't have. Let's push on here. So I think that was the last one. Oh, TC, thank you very much for the 11 months as a member. 11 months. Holy wow. Let's jump into our first piece of footage here. We talked a little bit about the HIMARS. Ukraine's getting some more ammo for their HIMARS. There have been a couple pieces of footage that have come out showing the HIMARS. This one, quite literally, is Ukraine showing off the HIMARS. But it has been, we have seen a lot of precision strikes on, ammunition depots that are believed to be HIMARS, or at least the strikes themselves have an origin from the HIMARS. I'm going to give you guys this one here. Coming up. We've got copywritten music here, so we're going to listen to it in quiet, in peace. All right, that's Ukraine showing off their HIMARS, and we're going to watch one more of the HIMARS being employed. That's coming up for you guys right now. There you go. Hey, Josh. Yeah, I see you. And that was a full salvo. Let's go back and let's actually count these. Hold on. I'm gonna, because what we're probably actually looking at here. I'm gonna pull myself back up in the low left. What we're probably actually looking at here is a bit of a repeat. But the HIMARS has a capability to... it's either a repeat or they reloaded. Now, you can reload a HIMARS inside of about 10 minutes or so if you have a pod available. We broke down the HIMARS, its capabilities, and a lot of, the different ammunition types. But what I want to do is I want to count these because there were a couple cuts in the frame. You have 6 missiles with the HIMARS per pod. I'm going to turn down the system volume really quick. I'll move myself to the right side of the screen. 1. Could be 2 HIMARS, you're right. 2. Now, what is this vehicle we're sitting next to right here? That was 2. But we already have... so I think we may be looking at two different HIMARS systems because look up at the smoke trails that we've got here. At the very beginning of the video, we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... we already have 6 smoke trails. We just had 2 launches here. So we could very well be looking at 2 different HIMARS systems. But there are a couple cuts in the video that are notable. So don't really have a need to count those anymore. Two or three HIMARS. I have a hard time believing that there are more than 2 in that location, specifically because Ukraine only has 4 systems. I doubt that they would group 3 HIMARS together. Like I actually, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they have more than 1 in one location. But I really, really doubt that they would end up with 3 HIMARS in one spot. Now, as of later in July, Lend-Lease, they're supposed to receive an additional 4 HIMARS systems as well. All right, let's move on. So this one was actually a really interesting video. An entire Russian BM-27 Uragan team that gets destroyed by the 28th mech, the Ukrainian 28th mech. And we can pull up UA war data, take a look at where at least... if UA war data has been updated, where at least they were about mid last month. There was a video of them grouping 3 together, actually. Hey, more power to them. That's just a lot of high capability inside of a very small impact area. It's coming up for you guys right now. Again, this is the 28th mech taking out an entire BM-27 Uragan team. Got some copywritten music here. Looks like the mods have entered the chat. If you feel like picking a fight, they're going to win. I'll wager 50... Steph, I'll wager 50K that Ukraine will fall. You don't have 50K. Stop it. Matthew, good night. These mods starting to attack each other. You are never on time. My bad, Vinny. I'll try to be better just for you. All right, let's bring that back up. Then we'll kill the music there. That music shouldn't still be playing. All right, it's not good. That way I can just kind of leave it running and turn that on when we have a copyright music problem. I do need to fix the camera, though. It's bothering me that the top of my head gets cut off up here. It's just a kind of a perfectionist thing. We're going to do that. Enjoy this ad. You're going to love it. I promise.
Only you can prevent
communism.
What y'all looking at? Huh? All right, let's pull up our next one here. Happy 4th of July. The next one here is going to be from a Russian perspective. We got footage showing Russian troops engaging Ukrainian troops in Lysychansk. So again, you know, we talked about Lysychansk to open up the stream. Let's just kind of hash that again. In the east, for those that might not be. Remember, there are those out there that aren't able to stay as plugged in on the situation as you might be. So there might be some things that we boil all the way back to basics. And, I want to show the world map quickly so people understand where Lysychansk is and, what we're talking about. So Lysychansk, in the far east of Ukraine, really has been some of the heaviest fighting. Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. You've got the Seversky Donets River here that's been in the news quite a bit. There was a failed crossing from Russia. They tried to cross it and just got absolutely demolished. A lot similar to a crossing in the south that Ukraine tried to do and ended up really losing a lot of troops and armor. But we're focusing specifically on Lysychansk for this one in the east. Coming up for you guys now. Here you go. I blew my eardrums out on that one.
Нет, это для истории.
Abu Hajr. No, the one for people.
Увидел откуда?
Abu Hajr, you burned us. Sorry. Oh, that's interesting. All right, let's push on to the next one that we've got here. We've got a Ukrainian attack helo hitting Russian positions at, quote, probably, its maximum range. Now, the deal with this is Josh posted this one. Josh has actually been posting most of the footage lately, if you haven't noticed. Let me show you guys where you can find out who posted it, learn a little bit about the writing team, our journalist team. All independent veterans that are doing their best to document war. So here is the video that we're about to watch. And if you guys are interested, just check the analysis section. This is Josh. Very handsome, dreamy Marine. Josh has been posting most of the footage, but before we get into that, we'll talk a little bit about why. One of our team members is either en route or in Ukraine, Poland, somewhere. We're supposed to receive our first video from that team member on Thursday. So this Thursday, be looking for a video of a Funker 530 core team member that is at least on his way to Ukraine. Now, full disclosure, we are receiving and posting that on a delay for obvious reasons. If you need a bit of explanation, I'm happy to help with that. But essentially, it's for operation security purposes and the safety of our core team member. We're a small team. We're only 6 people deep, right? We care very, very deeply about each member of our team, but one of us is going to Ukraine right now. So let's watch this footage here of Ukrainian attack helicopter. Specifically, this is an Mi-8 launching rockets. So Josh has been covering down on a lot of videos. Here you go. Copywritten music. Now here's the deal with that maneuver that we've seen both Ukraine and Russia do. What that ends up doing is that, for obvious reason, it extends the range, but it keeps you outside, the high bank, high angle of fire. It keeps you outside of any known surface to air threat. Josh's analysis on this one kind of explains a little bit more of that, but we're actually going to read together one of Josh's analyses and in just a few videos, and it's the most infuriating video we're going to watch today. All right, let's kill the music on that one. A little while ago, there was a lot that had to do with an individual, or at least somebody, a myth that was the Ghost of Kiev. I can tell you that he's real. He's real, and we have video evidence. Now he isn't just an ace. He also happens to be a big fan of the Warthog. It appears it's either the Ghost of Kiev or Master Chief has arrived on the Ukrainian battlefield to fight against Russia. Coming up for you guys right now.
Коротше, хуй знає, куди я заїхав. І я тут, що це нас, орки, блядь, їбашать. Десь.
All right, let's talk about what we're looking at here. We've got like a Russian convoy. You can see the Z. You can just barely make it out there.
Десь на Чорнобаївку, десь в ту сторону. Що це за хуйня, блядь? Йобаний! Ух ти що, сука. Чуть нахуй не вбили. Єбать, то що зас? Ух ти ж! Ну його нахуй, блядь! Ти що? Ох, ти що, блядь? Ебать. Ты шо, блядь? О, ебать. О, пиз.
I inked at this point. Mom, I'm gonna ink.
Орки, блядь, ебашать. Десь на Чорнобаївку, десь в ту сторону. Що це за фігня, блядь? Йоба!
You see the backblast?
Чуть нахуй не вбили. Єбать, то що зас? Ух ти ж.
You have to admit, it's really, really well done CGI. It's obviously fake, guys. Relax, chill out. But that was funny. All right, let's bring it up. So we're heading into footage section 2. Now that we're done watching either the Master Chief or Ghost of Kiev. Maybe Master Chief is Ghost of Kiev. Something you haven't thought about yet, have you? Let's move on. So we're moving into footage section 2, which is our non-Ukraine footage. And we're going to watch one of the most infuriating pieces of footage that I've seen in the last, in quite a little while, since the fall of Kabul. We're going to watch U.S. troops react to civilians falling off of the C-17. And once we do that, I'm going to pull up Josh's analysis, and I'm going to read direct from it for you guys. And I'm going to give you a link to this so you can go and read his analysis. Josh, if you're still out there, buddy, quite honestly, this is one of the best things you've ever written, in my opinion. You know, not that I'm a fan or something, but will you sign my chest? Coming up for you guys now.
Don't keep it in low. Keep it on high. Oh, okay.
Better forward.
What?
Oh, the dude fell, dude. Those are people falling off that fucking plane.
Holy shit.
Ow. Oh my god.
Oh my god, dude.
What? These people are fucking.
They're on the fucking wing, dog.
Oh, the fuck.
Wait, was that civilians?
Those were fucking people hanging on to that.
What the holy
fuck?
shit?
They're all across the fuck.
Hey, open the fucking gate!
These people are fucking insane. What the fuck? No shit, they tried to get out of the country, dude. Either guy won't wait.
One more time.
Don't keep it in low. Keep it on high.
Fucking people.
Oh, okay.
Fucking people. Better forward.
What?
Oh, the dude fell, dude. Those are people falling off that fucking plane.
Holy shit.
Ow. Oh my god.
Oh my god, dude.
What? These people are fucking.
They're on the fucking wing, dog.
Oh, the fuck.
Wait, was that civilians?
Those were fucking people hanging on to that.
What the holy shit?
They're all across the fuck.
Hey, open the fucking gate!
These people are fucking insane. What the fuck? No shit, they tried to get out of the country, dude. Either guy won't wait.
All right, let's bring it up here, and I'm going to read you an excerpt from Josh's analysis here. I'm going to give you the link. Here's the link to the video. That way you can go and you can go and watch, and you can read his analysis all you like. But the war in Afghanistan ended the exact same way it began, with human beings falling to their deaths trying to escape an inevitable fate. It's, of course, a reference to 9/11. For the troops and leaders at the tactical level, there was never once a direct failure to complete the mission set in front of them, even when they were faced with impossible odds. From the horse soldiers who broke the Taliban in 2001 to the Marines who pacified a majority of the Helmand province, every mission fought on the ground and in the air was an astounding success. But we still saw senior leaders try to shuck the failures of their own strategic command down to lower echelons, like it was the captains and lieutenants failing to accomplish the impossible tactical objectives set before them. This is what we've talked about before, right? The United States soldier did not get defeated by the Taliban. Not even a little bit. Not even close. There is absolutely zero failure on the United States, U.S. Army, U.S. Marine, sailor, airman. Zero of that failure rests on their shoulders. Josh goes on to talk a lot about the lack of general accountability. Just so everybody understands, I'm still technically in the Army. So, I might get a phone call. I might not. I don't know. But you should absolutely go and read Josh's analysis here. And that's a second for those who have accused us in the past of being, one-sided or biased towards the government. Go read that analysis. I give you leave to go do that. Let's move on to our next one. Speaking of Afghanistan, we've got a firefight in Herat between resistance fighters and the Taliban. Coming up for you guys now. All right, bring it back. This one was actually kind of tough to watch, not necessarily for what happened, but for what could have happened. Myanmar right now is dealing with a quite a complex situation, especially close to the Thai border. Now, a MiG-29 crossed into Thai airspace and ended up strafing a Thai kindergarten. I don't believe that there were any casualties reported, but I've got kids. I'm not sure if you guys have kids. So when I see something like this, it just, I don't know. It hits a thread for me. Coming up for you guys now. Which ones were the Taliban? That is the question, isn't it? I think that's been the question for well over 20 years. Who are the baddies? Maybe we're the baddies. Just covering some of the BDA. See a comment out there. Why didn't you cover Lysychansk fall? We spent like the first, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes talking about Lysychansk. And down at the bottom, you can probably just rewind and go back there. Now, Myanmar issued somewhat of a statement that a spokesperson for the Air Force of Thailand said that they understand what happened with the MiG-29 from Myanmar and know that the pilot had no ill intent towards the people of Thailand. Again, in Myanmar, there's an active conflict between the government and anti-governmental factions, and a lot of that fighting is happening really close to the Thai border, very narrowly avoiding catastrophe there. All right. The next one we've got here is some historical footage. So we don't just cover Ukraine, guys. There are a lot of folks that chime in on my other channel and check in with me on Twitter and ask, when is the Ukraine stream? This live show was never designed to be solely focused on Ukraine. It was always designed to point you to where you can find combat footage, law enforcement escalation of force footage from all over the globe. So every so often we have some historical footage, and we're going to look at some historical footage from the global war on terror, specifically in Iraq. We're going to take a look at what it actually means when you see a sign that says speed limit enforced by aircraft. Coming up for you guys right now. Now this Apache is going to conduct a traffic stop. I don't know, maybe seatbelt violation, something along those lines. Cox not. Don't worry. I'm gonna talk about that in just a second, just for you. Don't worry. Coming up. Look at that soft door Humvee there. Unless the doors are just open. I think the doors might just be open. Yeah. All right, so Cox not. Cox. Let's talk about that. So Cox Not's comment says, you thrive on misfortune, death, and war. How about you try promoting peace and love, not war and hate? So war has existed as really the number one problem. Violence solves more problems than than anybody gives it credit for. It just does. It has existed literally forever. What our mission isn't to glorify it, right? That movie that you sit down to watch. I don't know. Maybe you're a bot in Thailand or India, a troll farm. That movie that you sit down to watch that glorifies war. That's where that comment needs to go. What we do is we show you what war looks like so that you can understand it, so that you can see it in its true self. That's the mission of Funker 530, and we've been doing it for 14 years now. There you go. That was for you. Let's move on. We're jumping back into Ukraine footage here. Like I mentioned earlier, we're not here to focus solely on Ukraine, but the biggest conflict, especially with global repercussions, is Ukraine right now. So we're covering a lot more Ukraine footage than we theoretically would had Ukraine not been invaded by Russia. But footage section 3 jumps us back into Ukraine footage. We've got a Ukrainian soft team engaging a Russian convoy at extreme close distance. And the weapon system, before you guys ask, is a Malyuk. And that is a Ukrainian-developed, modernized AK, basically. They took the AK and they turned it into a bullpup and did a whole bunch of other things. But it is, they took an AK and then upskilled it to the Malyuk. Coming up for you guys now. Copywritten music. So we're going to break this down here in a second with whatever I can. There are some issues. I was checking in on the chat there for a moment. So what we're looking at here at the start is a Ukrainian soft team. I'll pull myself up on the low right. A Ukrainian soft team that are setting up to ambush a reported Russian vehicle. Based on that top-down overhead footage, it appears to be a civilian vehicle, which, according to the reports, was being used by Russians. What we don't see is any Russian uniforms, anything to really validate that. that's the best that we have. You can see impacts in the front, the rear, just the entire vehicle is riddled now. Now, we do, at the very, very end, see somebody being loaded into a vehicle or pulled from a vehicle here. It's kind of difficult to tell. Let's kill the music. Video skips here. Cuts. Right? The vehicle's gone. Just those front two vehicles remain. But that's the best context we have for this one. Was the initial report. And like Josh mentions in the analysis, which I'll give you guys the link for now, there's not a whole lot of additional context available for that one. Oh, my chat is delayed. There we go. There we go. All right. Next one. Belgorod. Excuse me. I always pronounce that wrong. Belgorod's air defense at work here. Now, there were reports that in the process, and I do believe that this is the strike specifically, there were 4 Russian civilians that were killed by, at some point between a Ukrainian strike into Belgorod and the Belgorod air defense system engaging. That was a report that just single source reporting. Take it with a grain of salt. This video surfaced almost immediately prior to that. Of course, I haven't had the time to connect the two. That's one of those things that's going to come along with me being a little bit more full-time in content, like we announced earlier on in the stream tonight. Is hopefully a little bit more preparation that I'm able to put into the stream. But what we're going to see here is a Russian civilian's perspective of Belgorod's air defense engaging. Coming up for you guys right now. Hey, Timo. Welcome back, buddy. There we go. My bad. Let's start over. That way you guys have full screen. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that Belgorod's been struck. If you're not familiar with Belgorod, let's pull up Google Maps. Not Google Maps, excuse me, Google Earth. Hamster spinning, there we go. All right. This is Belgorod from the border of Ukraine. So you've got Sumy up here. And what we could do is we can overlay this with another map. So here. So you can see, generally speaking, where everybody is. Here is Belgorod. Any blue areas are currently held by Ukraine. From a distance perspective, from the Ukrainian border, you're looking at only like 30 kilometers or so, right? That's about 30 kilometers. In case you can't see, I'll give you, I'll move to the low right. Check the top right corner there. Now that's from this point here. Ukraine does have quite a few weapon systems that would be able to reach from out here. That list is starting to get longer and longer. It includes the M270s from the UK and elsewhere, the 777s, I believe, especially if they have the Excaliburs, which has been confirmed that are at least on their way. If I recall correctly, they have already been there for quite some time, for months now. It would also include the HIMARS. Some of Ukraine's even Soviet-era weapon systems have the capability to reach Belgorod. So if we were to bring this out to here, so you're looking at 83 kilometers. The stated distance, the known declassified, or at least unclassed version of HIMARS total range is 70 kilometers. So essentially, you'd be looking at anything in this region here. Even all the way out into Kharkiv. So you could theoretically have, and Kharkiv is not currently held by Russian, you could theoretically have a HIMARS just sitting here in Kharkiv, interrupting Belgorod supply chains. Apparently it was Tachka. Okay. Yep. Like I mentioned, there are quite a few different capabilities that Ukraine has on hand. Some of those organic capabilities able to as well. All right, let's jump into the next piece of footage. We're coming up on the end of the show here for tonight. Actually, we're already overdue for the end of the show. So we've got Ukrainian troops. Nope, we already looked at that one, actually. So we've got an engagement between Ukrainians and Russians in the Donbass. Some close contact footage here. Once we're done with the live here, we're going to be jumping over to my channel where we're going to kick back, play some games, continue chatting. It's a little bit more of a relaxed space where I like to click on people's heads. We're also raising money over there for veterans. Swing by. It'll redirect you over there anyway, but swing by and ask about that. Coming up for you now. Now, this is somewhere in the east, in Donbass. A lot of incoming here. And that's where the footage ends for us. Well, some of that's outgoing and suppressed. I'm trying to tell if, right here, so we have... I'm trying to see if he actually is getting hit. No, he's just shifting. All right. And this is, excuse me, I didn't clarify. That's a Ukrainian perspective. So these are Ukrainians that we're watching there. The very last piece of scheduled footage where we are going to go through the trending. We're going to go through the top 3 trending since we're over time tonight. But the very last video that we have until we get into the trending section is the most high op-tempo video that we have. This individual is single-handedly the reason that Russia is gaining so much ground. Quite literally, this might be the Russian version of the Ghost of Kiev. I can't confirm. All I know is he's an absolute badass and absolutely sending it. Coming up for you now.
Скоро Украины не будет, не переживайте. Ахмад сила, Аллаху Акбар. Они больше не появятся здесь никогда в жизни. Мы Ахмад сила, Аллаху Акбар. Скоро Украины не будет, не переживайте. Ахмад сила, Аллаху Акбар. Они больше не появятся здесь никогда в жизни. Мы Ахмад, Ахмад сила, Аллаху Акбар.
He's Chechen. The Kadiravites. That was released to the public to do something. I don't know. There you go. You have it. There you have it, though. That was. Why don't you show both perspectives? There you go. There. Now you have it. All right. Let's jump into the training video. I'm going to show you how you can do this on your own. That way you don't have to listen to me speak. I'll take us to the home page here. And if you're on your phone, it's just as easy as clicking the drop down. So we're on the home page. And if you want to take a look at the top trending videos, all you got to do is click the trending button at the top. And lo and behold, we've got the last 7 days, the last 30 days, the last year, and all time. But we're going to focus specifically on the last 7 days, and we're going to start with the top 3. So number 3, U.S. troops at Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. I spent all of my most of my first deployment in Kabul and a lot of missions to HKaya. So these are U.S. troops at HKaya watching as Afghan civilians fall from the aircraft. If you're interested in seeing the footage from a little bit closer of those, unfortunate souls fallen from that C-17, we do have that footage here on the site as well. We'll watch that one again. Dark mode. We do have a dark mode. I can show you how to toggle that as well. Don't let me forget. Coming up free now.
Keep it in low. Keep it on high.
Fucking people.
Okay.
Fucking people that are falling.
What?
Oh, the dude fell, dude. Those are people falling off that fucking plane.
Holy shit.
Ow. Oh my God.
Oh my god, dude.
What? These people are fucking.
They're on the fucking wing, dog.
Why the fuck?
Wait, was that civilians?
Those were fucking
Yes.
people hanging on to that.
What the holy
fuck?
shit?
They're all across the
Hey, open the fucking gate!
Marines, no, these are Army.
Holy shit! These people are fucking insane. What the fuck? No shit, they tried to get out of the country, dude. The guy won't wait.
All right, so that is the number 3 most watched video on our website, funker530.com. The number 2 most watched video is Master Chief, whom at this point I fully believe is the Ghost of Kiev. We found him. We did. And remember that we found him before anybody else. This is absolutely the Ghost of Kiev. Or the Master Chief. Maybe the Master Chief is the Ghost of Kiev. Ghost of Kiev. Coming up for you now.
Короче,
He traded in his
заїхав, і є тут
fighter jet
у нас орки,
for a Warthog.
Десь на Чорнобаївку, десь в ту сторону. Що це за хуйня, блядь? Йобаний! Ух ти що, сука! Чуть нахуй не вбили. Єбать, то що зас? Ух ти ж! Ну його нахуй, блядь! Ти шо? Ох, ти шо, блядь? Ебать! Ты шо, блядь? О, ебать! О, пизда! Пизда! Ну все, блядь, сходив нахуй. Десь на Чорнобаївку, десь в ту сторону. Що це за хуйня, блядь? Йобаний! Ух ти що, сука! Чуть нахуй не вбили. Єбать, то що...
My favorite part is when it flies over the. So I saw Top Gun Maverick. By the way, if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. And I got I got into the feels when there's a part, and you'll know what part I mean when they bank over something. I got the same feeling when this warthog comes flying over top of this berm. Right here.
Що це за хуйня, блядь?
Ugh.
Ух ти що, сука. Чуть нахуй не вбили.
It's fake. Yes, of course it's fake. But we thought it was a pretty funny video. All right, let's check out our #1 most watched video. And I can only give you a part of this video because somebody does get shot in it. So I'm going to give you a link to the video where you can go and watch it. But this is a Ukrainian sniper engaging a Russian patrol. And when I say a Russian patrol, I mean a gaggle of Russians that are walking down one side of the road, close enough to hold hands. It's coming up for you guys now. As this specific video has been watched in just the last 7 days over 100,000 times on the app and website. Now, there is a point that I will have to stop, and once I stop, I'll bring up the camera, and I'll link you guys to it. I've got my stopping point. Here you go. This is the #1 most watched video in the last 7 days on the app and website, funker530.com. Copyrighted music. So again, what we're looking at here is we're looking at a Russian, sniper, marksman, with some form of a trigger cam, looking through his optic at a Russian patrol, a little bit bunched up on the right side, our right side of the road here, moving towards, perfect enfilade, moving towards the marksman. Now, that's where I have to stop. I'm going to tell you what happens next. And here's the link to this footage. Again, we can't show you too much here, but there's a reason we have our own video platform. What happens next is he engages this first guy, a cloud of dust. It looks like the individual that the sights are pointed on right now takes a round to the plate carrier, which, especially if it's ceramic, there's a lot of shit that comes off of it. He engages him and then just opens up his semi-automatic weapon system of some kind. He just opens up on the remainder of the Russian soldiers that are there. You can watch it at the link I just posted. I'm going to show it to you guys again. And I recognize and understand that you guys might have seen it on other channels. Treat each individual channel and their situation, especially in the YouTube hierarchy, as different, right? We have been around for over a decade, specifically 14 years. Eyes are on our channel for strikes, right? We have to be careful on this show and on our edited content with what we show you. We also have to be very careful with our uploads. We upload about, arbitrary percentage, because all percentages on the internet are bullshit. We upload maybe 10% of what we post on our app and website. Again, download the app. It's free. And you can watch all this stuff without me talking. That's going to be it for me tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. Thank you again, just to announce those things that I talked about a little bit earlier. And, this is cross-applicable because we'll be talking about them over on my channel once we leave here. I announced on Friday that because of you guys being here, that I'm getting the opportunity to move full-time into content and away from my 9 to 5 that I've been doing for the last 15 years. You'll be on the lookout for more content from us, for a little bit more preparation to the live stream, a little bit more depth to each of these posts that we do. Keep an eye out for more edited Funker News Network videos and more from Funker 530 in general. I appreciate you all, and stay informed.